we are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is P-Car Talk.
All right, welcome to another episode of P-Car Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are back at Brumos. We have a special guest, Snodgrass, on the show.
What's up?
Thanks for joining us.
No problem, guys. Nice to be here.
The heir to great Bob Snodgrass. We miss him every day. What a great guy. But we do have his son here. So we're going to talk everything about racing, what it was growing up with Brumos and what it was like with Dad and hanging out and getting to hang out and do all that cool stuff. And so let's just jump into it.
Let's do it.
This facility, let's talk about that obviously for a second. How amazing is it? Right?
Absolutely incredible. You know, we talked about it a little bit, but just a true piece of what Dan Davis I think sees in Brumos and kind of the legacy he wants to leave.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see coming from, you know, a race shop / museum, but really a race shop.
Yeah.
Into a really curated building like this is amazing.
Yeah, you made a good point too. We were talking a little bit offline about the details and even how involved Dan was with everything. It went into even down to the windows and everything, the flooring. You can tell there's no stone unturned, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I walked here through here with him, I mean, the passion he put into even the chandelier in the entrance, or you know, the wood or the circle track board on the board track, walking into the entrance. I mean, everything. I have to imagine he just sat up at night and thought of literally
He's got a binder and just
everything.
Yep.
Coming through here with him, I mean, he's such a powerful guy and a great guy, but coming through here with him, the fact that he was so in touch with every painter, every person touching something, he knew everything that was going on. It was so cool to see. It really was. I wasn't expecting that. You know, Brandon's got a huge hand in this, but to really come in and see Dan really just on it was really cool.
Yeah, what the killer
passion
job.
Showing through.
Killer job all the way around.
Absolutely.
So let's rewind all the way back to your childhood. So how cool was it for you to be so close to the brand? I'm sure at the time, you know, obviously it was probably hard to really understand when you're young the significance of that. But now that you're a little bit older, you can reflect back on that. So talk to us a little bit about the importance and some of your earliest memories when you were young about the race shop and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. I grew up around Brumos my whole life, and really I was so close to it. I didn't realize how special it was.
Yeah.
You know, my godfather's Hurley, right? Hurley's first name is Harris. I'm named after him. He's the first guy that held me. To me, it's
just that previous statement you just said, like, Hurley's my godfather.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and like, how many people could say that,
it's
right?
just, but you know, to me, it was like Hurley's a normal guy, and like, you know, everyone else loves him, and I love him, of course. But, but like, you know, it's a blessing now, and the reason I say it was a blessing and a curse is now that I'm a little removed from Brumos with my dad being gone since 2007. Obviously, I'm still close to the guys, but now that I can look at it more from a third party perspective, I'm really able to see how special, you know, my growing up was. How special this company, this brand is. And really it has kind of transformed me into the Porsche nut that I am. So
you're hanging on the back of like a 935 when you're like a kid. You're when it's in the race shop, you're like,
I rode in a 962 around Roebling. It didn't even have a seat in it. I mean, I've done so many cool things that like, you know, at the time, you know, my dad's like, hey, get in. And I'm like, why? There's no seat. He's like, just get in. We're just going to go for And like, you know,
sit on my lap.
At the time, I'm just, you know, it's like, this is like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like 7 years old.
Because you're a kid. You're a kid. You're not.
Yeah, you just don't. And to be fair, most kids are that way. You just don't get it. You're like, can I just play Xbox, Dad? Like, do I?
But, you know, looking back at it now, all the cool things I got to do. And, you know,
but it's good that your dad kind of forced your hand, too, because now you have those memories, right?
Oh, absolutely. And he really, you know, I was lucky because he was a hands-on guy with cars, and I really just got to do cool things that looking back at it now, I'll probably never get to do again. So, but yeah, growing up around Brumos was amazing. I mean, we were at the track a lot. You know, for me, even with, you know, the Fab car, the later stuff when my dad was alive, growing up, the stuff I remember most really is the historic racing. Did a lot of that, you know, because that's kind of what my dad was into. He wasn't really racing professionally anymore. But, you know, we'd go and Hurley'd come, and, you know, it'd be cool because you'd have like Paul Newman would show up and race, and all these
people, and I'm like looking, I'm like, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that's Paul Newman. I'm like,
You're like,
oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, growing up around the track was absolutely incredible. I mean, you know, Brumos race cars are awesome.
Yeah.
To begin with, all historic racing is awesome. The smell, the sounds.
Yeah.
Racing today is
Yeah,
great.
I think we talked about that at HSR. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it, you know, when
It's-
we're
it
both
all-
there, it's kind of like, this is what it really is about right here.
It evokes all of the right emotions.
Yeah.
And modern racing is amazing too, but you know, there's a little disconnect for me at least, compared to like going and watching an HSR race and seeing like, you know, a real RSR, like
I
an
would
old
agree with
RSR,
that.
just ripping, making a bunch of noise,
Yeah.
spitting oil out. Just,
Yeah. The imperfectness of it is the nice part.
Absolutely.
Like, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And up until really the Fab car and the GT program, you know, Brumos was full of a bunch of imperfect race cars,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
It is very cool.
You know,
Still dominant though.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, the 91710 starting up, I mean, that's an ugly process. It smells bad. It's smoky, but there's nothing better. Right?
Exactly.
It's just like,
Gets it
man,
done.
this is what it's about.
Exactly.
So,
Awakening the beast is not always pretty. But
absolutely, absolutely. Nowadays, you just plug a computer in, press a few buttons, and then the thing.
It's not starting yet.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
yeah, now it's good to go.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of my favorite stories, and you could probably tell it a lot better, so I'll lead you down the path and you can tell it. I think Ray kind of told us this story a little bit about your father when he was first started like racing in with Brumos, I guess, or wanting to race and all that kind of stuff, and has involvement with Brumos. But he kind of pretty much just walked into the trailer and was like, I'm gonna race.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
is that kind of how it happened?
Yeah, you know, I know Peter and Hurley. You know, they met at an SCCA at an autocross event. Hurley was fast, and my dad kind of came into involvement with Peter at the dealerships, and you know, really picked up into racing. I mean, my dad grew up loving cars. You know, grew up in upstate New York, but I've got videos of him talking. You know, he had a 48 MG, which was his dad's first car, and ended up being the car my dad drove to high school. I actually still have it.
That's good. You better.
Yeah, I'll never sell it. It's like yeah, I mean, 1948. It's been in one family its whole life. It's
How
pretty
cool is that?
Yeah. But you know, my dad at 16 had pulled the mufflers off of it and would rip around New York, and like, you know, his friends' moms would chase him with brooms, and I've heard these stories forever. But yeah, you know, he came here and you know, had a good relationship with Peter, and you know, and ultimately really got into more serious racing. And I remember, when I was young, the first race car I can really remember my dad driving was a Chevron, and it was a dangerous car. I mean, it was a fast car, but you know, he really just, you know, I don't think he was ever maybe at the level of Peter and Hurley, of course, but you know, his management skills moving forward and what he evolved into really helped. Peter and Hurley kind of, you know, do their thing.
Apply that onto the track as well. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, you have that mind where you can apply it to certain things, and it still works because you're like, look, you still need to manage this stuff like this.
Yeah, one funny story I'll tell you real quick. And I don't remember what car it was. I think it was a 993 GT2. It was a Roar car they ran 1 year back in the 90s. And a guy last year at Daytona was telling me, man, your dad, I'll never forget. We were at Daytona. We were testing. It was for the 24-hour. And I guess my dad told Hurley or whoever, it might have been Walter Rohrl, was a driver. He said, go and just shoot through the bus stop. Just don't even go through it. Just come through and then pull, you know, do a lap and then pull in. So I didn't quite understand it, but what he had done was he'd shaved like 4 seconds off of their time on the timer and then pulled in and parked it. Well, what that did was made every other team like, wait a minute.
What happened?
How did they do that? And they just parked and they just watched everyone go frantic. And my dad had
so the
that.
people who didn't see it, they're just like,
no one saw it,
exactly.
you know.
So
and,
it's like, how did this happen?
On the timing board, they're like, wait a minute, that guy's, how's he 3 seconds faster than everyone? And it was purely a strategic move, because then guys were putting their cars in the garage, and they're making adjustments, and they're like,
why are we going?
That's so smart, because you create pandemonium and everybody's trying to find those seconds now.
Yeah, he was definitely, my dad was never a cheater, but he surely was a guy that knew how to, you know, take what you had and utilize all of it.
That's what I'm going to say. He knew the rules, and he was just like, this, I mean, that's psychology is what that is.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's a strategic psychology move. Like,
I had to grow up under that.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So That's pretty much how it was for me.
Yeah.
Like I could never outthink my dad.
Never.
Well, we'll see what Harris does with this.
But it was it was great to see him.
It goes
at the
back to
track.
those high school stories. You're like, yeah, no, I came back, I parked the car here. He's like, no, you didn't.
Oh, I tried. I mean, I remember in high school I got as good as putting dimes or dollars in the garage right where the tire sat. Yeah. So if I took something, which really wasn't till later in my life, I was always so scared to do that.
Yeah.
But, I turned like 17.
Exactly.
Like,
you're like, I'm doing it.
There's a Ferrari in the garage.
Exactly.
My dad's in Germany right now.
And I'm going for it.
Yeah, my friends are having a party.
Time to flex.
Just gonna do it.
I'm
gonna do it. Yeah, I'd put the dime right at the back tire. And it was
he'd still know probably.
Yeah, he probably knew. He never said anything,
Yeah.
but he was smarter than your average bear for sure. So
100%. And if you guys that are listening that don't know about Bob, he was a tall man too. He was like, what was your 6'5"?
6'4".
6'4".
He was. He had the belly of a beast. I mean, he was a big front heavy guy.
Yeah, he was a man's man.
Yeah, everyone called it the booming voice of God. I mean, he had a deep voice. He was, but he was a big lover.
Yeah.
I mean, even for all the guys that worked for him, people today talk about it. He'd come and he might discipline you, but I mean, when it was over, and it was back to being family.
Yeah.
He was always
definitely a guy you didn't want to make upset. It's like heavy hands.
yeah, definitely had heavy hands. I learned that once when I was younger. Yeah.
No. Your dad was such an influence with everything, though, and I think that's really cool, and then you got to experience so much of that, just being in there. And some of the cool stories that I even heard from, like, even Robert Kennedy when talking to him, and he's like, I used to have to babysit Harris when he was running around the shop.
A lot of those guys, man, still today, like Charles up at Porsche, a lot of those guys I've been around my whole life.
Yeah.
So it's cool that I've grown up a little bit now and I'm able to just be friends with them, versus when I was younger. And I'm a kid.
It's
build a
more,
relationship.
Yeah, there's not that real relationship. It's like you're an adolescent, and then they're kind of older. It's kind of like, you're watching me. There's not a lot of
boss's kid.
Yeah.
I'm young. I'm probably a little punk, a little bit of a jerk.
Exactly.
Like great hairs.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Exactly. But now it's
you're like, how big that kid is? He's a terror.
Yeah.
He's like tearing everything up in here.
But now I'm close with all the guys.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily there's still a handful of them that work at the Fields dealership now, and obviously Leatherwood, Don, Leatherwood,
Don's
all the
awesome.
guys here.
We were just talking to Don and telling him we're gonna get some tequila out and we're gonna put you on the show. And he's like, I'm in.
Oh, he will be in.
Yeah.
If I ever have to get Don a gift, it's a bottle of tequila. He loves his tequila or a cigar.
Yeah,
one of the two.
Good, both actually. That'd be good. That'd be good.
That'll be good.
Good to do. So then, you spent your childhood doing that. So let's talk a little bit as you get a little bit older. Obviously, you probably started getting interested in racing yourself, correct?
I did. Yeah.
So then, talk to us a little bit about that.
I was I was never forced to go to the track. I mean, it just became part of my life. So when I had the opportunity, I want to say I was probably 14. We went to Vegas on a family trip, and my dad had a friend, Sonny Vogel, and his grandson or his son raced Legends cars, which are like the half scale. I don't really know. I don't remember much. But anyways, my dad's like, hey, we're in Vegas, and I'm, it's a family trip. And he's like, we're actually going to go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm like, what? And we go out there, and he, puts me in a Legend car. And it was my first, I think it was like my first time ever in a race car. And it was fun. I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm actually driving it. I hadn't really driven. I wasn't 16 yet. I mean, I'd driven some stuff around. Actually learned how to drive on the ranch back here. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, after that, I did the Derek Daly Academy out there in Vegas again. And then, that was an open wheel car and learned a little bit there. And then from that point, I just came back here and was able to go with them to test days, some HSR events. And then from there, I really learned my driving of Porsches with Hurley, which was amazing because I'll never forget.
What a better teacher.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Hurley taught me how to drive the Porsche around the track properly.
The first time I'll never forget this. I was about 15 or 16, and I got in with Hurley in the 91 supercar, which, you guys have seen, 965. And we go on Roebling Road, and we go out, and my dad's like, just ride with Hurley and, do a couple laps with him. You can see kind of what he does. And I'm like, all right. And we come out of the pits. We go, the first lap's kind of soft and, come out of 11 onto the straightaway there. And it's like Hurley's just full out. And I'll never forget, I mean, he's full throttle, full boost. He's driving. He's got his arm
on the windowsill here, and he's holding the wheel here, like on the left side with one hand, and he's adjusting his mirror. We're doing like 140, and I'm like, oh my god, like what's going? And I'm like kind of sitting there as a kid. I'm like looking at him, and Hurley's just like looking around, and he's
You're like, is he looking at the road?
I'm like, what? He must know it's something. And we come down to the brake markers, and it's like the 3 marker, the 2 marker, and it was probably between the 1 and the 2. Which is really late, at least for me. I'm not a pro racer.
Of course.
And I look down, and Hurley takes both of his feet. I'll never forget this. And he has both of his feet on the brake pedal at once. I mean, just
Mashing.
jammed them. And heel toe, blip, blip, and threw that thing into a turn. And that was when I first realized. I'm like, oh my god, like this is crazy.
Yes,
I mean,
what it takes.
even in like
so
the open
this
wheel
is
stuff.
how you drive a car like this.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the first time I'd ever really been in any type of car violently. I'd ridden in street cars around there with my dad, and that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But to get in an actual supercar or the supercar champion IMSA car and have him throw that thing around, it was amazing. So after that, I got it was a 924 race car that was actually the Brumos school car, and they kind of converted to my race car. And it was a momentum car. It wasn't fast, but at 16, I was blessed to be able to race that.
And it probably taught you a lot too.
It did,
like as far as like taking your lines and not being overpowered. You're not overpowering the track.
Absolutely, especially a track like Roebling. It's such a momentum track. So I really got the feel for that car, which was a front engine car, and then I went from that to a 914 4-cylinder open top car, which was also kind of a momentum car, and that was until 17 or 18, and then I finally got to share my dad's race car, my dad and Hurley's race car.
That's cool.
With me, which is the one that was just in Atlanta. And that was that car's got a big hot motor in it, Hewland gearbox, and I mean, I'll never forget the first time that he said, "Hey, you just take my car out." I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I pulled out of the pits. It was Roebling again, and I mean, I remember thinking, it's not running right. It was like under 5,000 RPMs. I had my foot down. It was, it was jolting. It was like, and it hit like 5,000, 5,500, and it just came on. And I was like, whoa. Okay, I'm in a real race car now.
Exactly.
And then I started.
It's like, it's not happy below 5,000. That's why it was doing that.
And then I never wanted to drive any of the other cars again. And I actually sold my the 914. Brian Johnson from AC/DC, his wife races it now. Okay. And I think they've got a 6.
That's really cool.
Yeah, Brian used to be at the track a lot.
Yeah.
He's a big racer, and he's an awesome guy.
Yeah. He lives Anastasia. He's not too far away, right?
Yep. And he was always a hoot. My dad always had a trip. It was always a trip when he'd come around.
Race,
Yeah. Come around, he'd have a drink in his hand. I'd be like, hey, racetrack.
Exactly.
We're doing this.
You're like, he's a rock star. It's fine.
He's a rock star. Definitely a rock star.
It's a lot.
But yeah, so I got to do some racing there with them, and and then my dad passed in 07, and I really never followed up with it just because I didn't have the opportunity. After that, later in his life, they really worked in the Fab Car program, which it consumed a lot of Brumos Racing's time. The historic stuff kind of was a little less than it had been when they weren't doing that.
Understandable.
So now that I've got the car back, thanks to Dan. My goal is to do a few track days with it a year.
Good for you.
I don't think I'll open wheel it. I don't have the resources to fix it if I break it. I mean, it's got so many one-off parts.
I was gonna say too, there's so much history there. You probably never forgive yourself if something terrible happened to it.
I don't want to wheel to wheel it. I don't want to wheel to wheel it. I just want to go out and be able to keep it exercised, do track days.
I think that's great, like homage to the car anyways. Like you got to keep it going, but I also agree with not putting it in a competitive situation where it's kind of like
it's just not worth it. If it was still parked here and it was still they still had the slew of parts for it and 3 motors sitting there waiting. Sure.
Exactly.
It's not on my dime, I guess. When I was younger, it was my dad. It was like if I broke something, I'm like, hey Dad,
this is broken. He's like, all right, we'll get it fixed.
Yeah, we'll fix it, and and then again the guys would start to hate me again.
Exactly.
Because I blew up the 924. But
you again?
Yeah. but ultimately, I'm excited to be able to spend some time in that car again.
Yeah, it's great looking too. I've seen it actually a couple places. Saw it when it was in Atlanta. Saw it when they brought it back. Saw it in your shop when it came back. Because I was actually talking to Chris when we were there on Saturday, and I'm like, "When did this come back?" He's like, "Literally like yesterday."
Yeah, it had just got racing it back down, and it was done. He was done with the display up there. It was awesome just to have it there. When Ray called me and asked me, I'm like, "You kidding me? Absolutely."
Yeah.
And
it looks so good in there too.
It did,
it's just like. was definitely a crown jewel while I was sitting in there. Like everything in the room, you definitely gravitate towards that car when you see it.
It's got a good look to it. I mean, it looks super tough. It was really over-engineered when my dad built it. I remember when he kind of went down that road. We're gonna do some roadsters, but I mean, it's got like a NASCAR style cage, and if you open the doors, it's built to be really safe. And he threw the book at that thing. So that's also why I'm a little scared to break it. Right? It's got like Penske 4-way adjustable shocks. Like if I blow one of those things, how do like where am I gonna?
Unobtainium.
Yeah, we'll put some PSS 9s on it or something.
Exactly.
But it's a cool car. I didn't realize until I acquired it, that it had a title. It was actually it's a real 914.6.
What's that like?
Which is cool.
I've been on track in a lot of cars, but I've never been on track in an open cabin car like that. What is that sensation like? Is that totally game changer with like all the wind and stuff? Is it kind of just like?
I drove that car at Daytona, which is fast, and I don't think you don't really notice it. Yeah, I mean, I have obviously a closed face helmet.
Yeah.
But especially in that car versus some of these other vintage cars, you sit really low. Like even my dad, his head barely stuck out of the top of it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Hurley actually sits on a pad when he races it. He's got a booster seat for it. But
phone book.
But I mean, like you sit so low. I think the air pretty much shoots over you. You don't feel it.
Well, then that makes sense. I didn't realize that you were so low in the car.
Yeah, it's got a little windscreen, a really small one, but I think it actually
just for help to deflect.
It actually kicks the wind right out of your face.
Okay.
But yeah, that car feels really cool. I mean, it feels like you're driving a piece of wood. It's really stiff. I mean, it does not feel like it has any type of suspension on it, but I mean, you throw it into a turn, it just goes. So
like on rails, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I love that car. It looks so. I mean, it was their car, so I guess it should look that way, but it just looks tough.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one. Hurley loved racing it. Which
is unique too, because it's not very easy to make a 914 look tough.
No, it's but they did some things. I remember like the fog lights. It's got fog lights above the driver's head. It's got 2 fog lights, and I remember they put those on there because it was fast for its class.
Yeah,
and especially with Hurley driving it. My dad was a very fast racer too, but with Hurley driving it, you'd see that thing coming. You'd see it coming out of a turn. You'd be like, oh, there it is, because they just wanted people to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of the way. It's coming.
Yeah, don't make me brake because you won't get out of the way. Move.
But yeah, it's a great car. I'm like I said, it feels fragile to me just because I don't have the ability to fix it very easily if I break it. So I've got to be mature with it, and I definitely will.
Good for you.
Deep down, do I want to go like just absolutely?
Gotten to that level of your life, you're like, all right, I don't want to hoon this.
Yeah,
you're like, even I want to hoon it, but I'm not going to. That my better judgment's not going to let me hoon this.
I really want to drive it on the street, but that's just another bad idea. Yeah. So probably never going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Sitting there like overheating or cook the motor or something. You're like, no, why did I do this? I'm an idiot.
Yeah, it does not run well under 5,000 RPMs, at least from what I remember. I mean, that thing, it was like, it almost felt like it was dying.
Which makes total sense because those cars don't idle for anything. Yeah, it's like you're always having to keep it like in the high RPM
it was just like sputtering. I'll never forget the first time I came on the pits, just sputtering. I'm like, oh my God, like I think something's wrong. I get on the radio, I'm like, something's wrong. Like, just put your foot in it. And I put my foot in it, and it just came alive. Yeah, it was awesome. Man.
Do you ever see yourself maybe, not to that particular car, but just in general, like going to find maybe an old DE car or something and maybe getting back into HSR occasionally on your own and just kind of wanting to do that, not necessarily from a competitive standpoint, but just to go run the cars like a gentleman class or something?
I think so. All my friends really love tracking me. A lot of my friends. I mean, they go.
They live at Roebling. Yeah, most of them.
Roebling, or we've got a little track out here at the firm.
All these guys are always there. Yeah, firm.
And they go out there a lot, and I go very rarely with them. But surely, I get the bug for sure. I don't know where.
I just wonder, just because you had it first when you were younger. Like I just wonder if those feelings start to come back every once in a while. And you're just like, hey, I probably not necessarily like go gun ho, but just saying, hey, it'd be nice to do this occasionally.
I just don't, to be honest with you, and it might sound bad, I don't love going on the track in a street car. I mean, I did it at Roebling a few months ago.
No, I agree with you.
And I just,
I think a race car on a racetrack, heaven.
It's just a
different
thing.
And then street car on street.
Yeah, I just Makes feel, sense. And a lot of the stuff I drive, I end up selling. So I need to be careful with it.
Good point.
And a lot of it's always.
Harris, wasn't this just at the firm and you went off No,
No, no,
not
no,
this
no.
car.
But it's on YouTube.
What
Yeah,
about
it's
this
a-
video right
yeah,
here?
it's a different. I saw a dash cam that. No, different car.
Yeah, no, you just
another
got to be
GT3.
careful. But I brought an R8 RWS to Roebling, and a supercharged car, like 820 horsepower.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, I'm so excited. I'm like, I drive to Roebling. I'm going to track this thing all day. I get the first session, I get out there, and the traction control was having such a fit that it just shut the car down. And I'm like, you know what? This is why you don't.
Yeah.
This is why you don't do
Exactly.
this.
Yeah.
This is why you get a race
Like
car.
this is the
right?
sign.
Or
this just
like
told me right now. This is why you don't.
Exactly.
Do this. Yeah.
Or like a 944 or an old E36M.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I mean,
Yeah,
of
like
course,
Drew-
like Andrew's
yeah.
stuff. I hope for me it'll be a Porsche, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping as of now
Get an old SC or something.
yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. But I'm hoping the 914 gets to a point to where it's kind of turnkey, and I can just go out, 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And do some test days.
Yeah, some like fun stuff.
Yeah,
Close
yeah.
track type of deal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be fun.
But a big side of me would love to do like some type like of Miata spec racing or something.
Oh, yeah.
just
'Cause it's fun.
Yeah, and it's so aggressive. I mean, everything is so linear that you can expect good competition. And
Exactly.
That's kinda
Yeah,
cool.
And it's back on the driver.
Yeah, it's
Balanced.
all on the
Good.
driver.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
that I
good
do
stuff.
like spec racing for that same reason. I've thought about that in my own mind, thinking, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, those little Miatas, man, are good buys.
Yeah.
You can buy those things right.
And the
have some
great thing
fun
is
with them.
consumables aren't expensive.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it does really make sense. It's, how we all our Porsche guys are like, oh, you're going to go do a Miata thing? And it's
Yeah.
like, honestly,
Why
it's the
not?
cheapest way to do it. And I can beat them up, and I'm not going to I can throw that car away and not be worried
It's
about
really
it.
one of the best race cars ever made. If
Yeah.
you think about it, I mean, just the Miata is a great platform for that. Sure, it doesn't have a bunch of power, but it doesn't need it.
Exactly.
It goes back to that momentum thing.
Exactly.
Keep that thing
And
moving.
a lot of old Porsches are the same way. anyways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's transition a little bit. All right. So now you've been an adult for a while. You're doing
Yeah.
bespoke and you're doing 5.9 design. So
Correct.
talk to us a little bit about both of those plants and what's going on at those places and what those places exactly do.
Yeah, so I actually started 5.9 Design probably around 2003 for Brumos.
Okay.
And what it started with was a lot of people don't know this. My dad was really into aftermarket. You would never think it if you saw him, big, huge.
Yeah.
Like a old
But he
man.
loved to mod stuff,
But
huh?
yeah, man. I mean, like when I was a kid,
I want to be like that still when
dude,
I'm old.
he
I'm
was-
still doing that.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. I mean, I remember in like the early 90s, he had an S-Class, and he came home, and I'm talking, I had to be like 7, I had to be like 93 or something, and it was like an S5 or 600, and it had a full Lorenzer body kit on it, and it had black Lorenzer wheels. It was the first car I've ever seen all black. It was all black.
Yeah.
And
The
we'll get to this, but
blacked
it was
out.
I mean, dude, my dad had a Suzuki Samurai with Dayton's on
That's
it, right? I mean, like
awesome.
people don't know this
That's
stuff.
crazy.
Like he really was
That's
into.
so cool, though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because he had that everything. He just loved everything.
He loved it all. He
Yeah.
loved it all. I mean, and but he really was into modding. So he saw that I really was passionate about that. I mean, I begged him forever when I was 16. He's like, that I wanted my first car to be a Dodge Stratus because I liked the touring cars.
Yeah, I was just about to say the touring series cars,
and,
right? And that's probably like the old 4-door Accords and stuff, and like the Honda Touring,
Contour SVT,
Honda Touring series, and
all
stuff
that,
like that.
all that weird stuff. And but he knew I was really into the aftermarket stuff, and he said, "Why don't you do a couple cars for we'll put them on the lot?" And then that's kind of how it started. So,
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
So yeah, I did some S classes early. Actually, that was a little later. It was probably like 05. But I did some S
That's
classes.
where you're like, see, Dad, I can do it.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I was like putting body kits on stuff, and I did like a beef before they did the B59. I did a couple B59 Porsches for Brumos, which I
Nice.
still see floating around sometimes, which is cool. I did
That's
a couple,
really cool.
Couple Caymans. I was really big into Caymans.
Yeah.
Back when they first released, I loved them. But yeah, so I kind of got that started then. My dad died in 2007. I ended up leaving Brumos, where I worked then, just because that stigma of boss's son.
Yeah.
I just didn't really want to be around it. It was kind of a hard place for me to be.
I was about to say,
I was there-
probably
I was there every day of my life.
I was probably kind of challenging for you to be there without your dad.
Yeah, it was, and
because I know how close you guys were, so that must have probably been tough to just been in that environment to be like, I'm not functional here. Like this doesn't work.
It just didn't work,
Yeah.
So what I did was I actually moved to Miami and worked for Lamborghini Miami for a few years.
Yeah.
I built great relationships.
Living
with
that
those guys.
Lambo life.
Yeah, the brand, Lamborghini Miami is incredible. The guys there are awesome. They're like family to me. The Lambo brand, I'm not, I like the product, the buyer isn't my particular favorite to sell to, just because they're not going to ask me the technical questions.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day.
It's like, hey, if I go to Fontainebleau in this Aventador,
Exactly.
is a girl going to look at me?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, she's going to look at you. The doors go up, right?
Exactly.
And then, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it ends.
That wasn't really why I wanted to sell cars.
It doesn't get to like, can I run Trofeo R's on here? Like, you don't get those kind of questions.
Like 1 in 100 guys, right?
And you're like, wait a minute, what? You know what Trofeo R's are?
So I talked to the guys there. My boss there, Brad David, is a good friend of mine. I just said, man, I think I'm going to go home and I'm going to kick off 5.9 again. And he was all for it.
Awesome.
He's like, go, man, do it. So I came back and I started 5.9 Design, which was, custom builds and vehicle sales, pretty much, quote unquote used car dealership with kind of unique stuff.
What kind of a platform for you to kind of mod it and then sell it, right?
Yeah,
so that
mod and sell.
kind of works.
And I've kind of dabbled in different ranges of just buying and selling, which I don't really enjoy that much anymore, down to building and selling, which is cool. It's kind of hard to find where you can make your money when you're doing that, right? Because you can put a bunch of money into something. That doesn't mean someone else is going to give you that
absolutely
money.
right.
So,
like dollars disappear real fast when you translate modding into something if somebody doesn't have the same vision as you.
So when I first started 5.9 Design, or not when I first started, when I came back here and started it again, 2013, 2012, late 2012, I really got into Jeeps just because I'm like, look at all the aftermarket. Like, let me just see what I can do.
And they have a huge following too.
Huge following. And I built, I don't know, 10, 5, 7, I don't know how many Jeeps I built for customers. And what I found was a lot of powder coat. A lot of refinishing. That's the stuff that I could probably get done for less cost that will make more of a impact on the vehicle. And that's kind of where Bespoke came from. The second business, which I realized, man, like no one really does quick powder coating around here. No one really does full automotive based powder coating. We have a ton of powder coating shops. Bringing you furniture, bringing you handrails. That's all cool. I tried that, went down that road.
All walk-in type of clientele, like one-off stuff.
Not interested. Like it's just, I don't want to do some patio furniture. It just doesn't do anything for me. Chris does. Actually, Chris likes that stuff.
Does he?
But for me, it was all cars, which was really to a powder coating company. If you talk to a powder coater, they absolutely hate that because your finish has to be perfect. Versus like a table off your patio.
Plus, you're also doing install and taking stuff off back and forth too. And that's tedious work, right? So people are like, "This is tedious. I don't like this.
I don't want to do it." Most powder coating shops, if you want to get your wheels done, they're like, "Okay, well, bring me your wheels."
Yeah,
and then they're like, "Well, how do you?"
Exactly.
So, put it in your driveway, put it on jack stands, put it on bricks, whatever you got to do. Go take your wheels off, take them to the tire store, dismount them.
I've done. We've all been in the game. 100%. Like I've done that before. So you've had to do that, and it's a total pain to have to do that.
So we tried to make it a simple solution. It's just all automotive, which it is more work, but for me, it's the only way to keep me me interested. And obviously my guys that they're all car guys, and we get to work on fun stuff. So that business has really 5.9 is a passion project. 5.9 Design. I love it. It's not going anywhere. I'll never make $1 billion off of it. It's just not that type of business.
Yeah, you love it.
But I love it, and I can do it, and I can build stuff I love and sell stuff I love and see it all over the world, which is cool. Bespoke is an actual business for sure. It works.
Because you have ties to dealers all over Jax.
We're doing most of the new car dealers in Jacksonville, and it's great, man. I mean, our product helps them sell vehicles, helps them maximize profit. And in our turnaround, now that we've been doing it for
and you're providing
years.
a service they need too, because they don't.
That makes sense.
If
pick up, drop off. I mean, it's like literally my sales guys go in and then they say, "Hey, give me that Range Rover Velar." Toss them the keys, bring it back. The next day it comes back. It's all blacked out. So it's a cool business. I really must have, going back to my dad's old Lorenzo S class, I think I got that passion for all black from him. He loved black. He loved all black cars. And I love him so much that I'm almost sick of seeing them. I mean, we do like 20.
I'm tired of murdering everything out.
We do like 20 to 30, total blackouts a week. I mean, and like, so now
that's a ton.
It's a ton in Jackson. I mean, Jacksonville's a big city, but it's a small town. So,
That's a lot.
Actually, it's the other way around. It's a big town and a small city.
Yeah.
But you know, every day I drive, I see like 10 cars. I'm like, oh, we did that last week. Oh, we just did that. You know,
you're like all of you.
Yeah. All these cars. Black wheels. I'm ruining all the black wheels
all
for
of
Jacksonville.
I've been through my shop.
So now we're transitioning to do some new colors. You know, Porsche released some awesome, like the RM Gold, the you know, the white gold that was on the 997.2 RS. I'm trying to, Chris and I have been really messing with a lot of swatches and colors to try to find some new unique stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been pushing our sales guys to get, like we did a Range Rover, a new Range Rover last week, and we did like all bronze accents on it, bronze wheels.
Cool.
Just because if you look now, even Porsche or Range Rover or BMW, you can order anything with black wheels now.
That's true.
They saw the movement, not just from me, but just in general, globally. They're
You're
like,
right.
People, black wheels sell cars.
Exactly.
So that helps the manufacturers. That helps people get black wheels. It kind of hurts us.
Yeah.
So we are.
Yeah, you think of it because it's leaving the factory with them already.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this doesn't need to be done.
Yeah,
now.
we're cheaper than the factory, but I mean, if you can just click a box for $900 and get black wheels,
and you know the sales guy's going to definitely just say, just do it. That way it comes and it's done.
Yeah, it's done. You know.
Yeah.
So we're starting to. We're starting to branch off, but I still use a lot of the stuff I saw from my dad's era and from Brumos, some of the weird colors that, you know, and some of the projects that he put together, I try to use them and look at something and say, how can we make this different?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How can you put your touch on it? Yeah, how can you do your thing?
We were doing like Italian, even in Miami. I remember the first car we did, my buddy's car, we did Italian flags on all the calipers.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was when I was in Miami. But little stuff like that was just, it was different, you know? Even side markers on Lambos we used to do in Italian flags. We've tried to do some weird stuff. I've always tried to do weird things that aren't just your typical.
Yeah.
So,
Brumos brake calibers.
You know, I thought, you know, coming soon, soon. But yeah,
so my mind already go there with something you're kind of working on.
Well, maybe, but yeah, no, I just love different. And really being around bespoke for me is a blessing and a curse, because it's like it's almost made me sick of all black things.
Yeah,
like all black cars.
I could see that.
But like you said, it's also bringing to light your creativity too by going different colors.
It's
and so
pulling it out.
It's almost kind of forcing your hand to think. Okay, I don't want to do that color anymore. Like,
it's a great
what can we do?
But let's move on.
And it's cool that Porsche does it. Like I think here at Porsche Jacksonville, I saw a white 992 with gold wheels, gold side stripes, and I feel like a brand like Porsche doing that almost makes it okay.
Yes.
For like Range Rover, right? Like it's almost like I can go to Rover and I can be like, well, look, you can get this 992
at Porsche
from the factory,
like,
gold wheels, and they're like, oh, well, let's put some, let's put some dark gold wheels on this Range Rover.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it works. You know, and then 5 years later, Range Rover offers gold wheels.
Yeah.
Let's hope not. But
exactly.
But
they're like, we're just going to offer it whatever color from now on.
Yeah. But no, you know, bespoke's been great. Like I said, it's a real business. I want to grow it. I want to continue to grow it. And, you know, and I've got great guys that work with me, and we're all kind of on the same page.
So. Say somebody, because we have listeners all over the world, like, can somebody send something to Bespoke outside of the area? Will you guys take on that work?
Yeah, we'll take on anything. I mean, you know, obviously if you're not around Jacksonville or Florida, it might be a little harder.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, we're super passionate about, you know, making our product really good.
Yeah.
So we've got the resources and the ability, if it doesn't come out great the first time.
I've seen the shop guys. They've got the stuff. Trust me.
Yeah, we're doing some good stuff. So, but you know, and the same goes for 5.9. I have people, you know, call me to want to do custom builds, and I'll do them periodically for people. But I love that road.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of where I want to transition to now that I've got, you know, Chris helping me really get Bespoke running without a ton of my time. I can focus a little more on trying to build some cool things.
Projects going.
Yeah, I want to get some projects going, man. The last
that's really cool
big
though
one
that you have, you know, because Chris is a hard worker, so you have somebody that you can rely on, and then that you can start to focus some of your creative energy somewhere else to say, okay, great, this is okay, and I want to get back to modding something. I want to build something.
Yeah, it just, man, like it's killed me forever. The last thing I built was, you know, the 997 turbo I built in honor of my dad. I think it was SEMA 2015.
I love that car.
It was a great car, man. I loved it, and it's just after I built it,
you should build another one.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to. So now I'm in the process.
I'm looking at a 997 turbo. Maybe I send you one and you build me one.
They're good cars,
and then that would be sick.
They're awesome, man.
Yeah. We'll talk offline about that.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Because honestly, like literally, I am looking at turbo cars and GT cars. You know, to be fair, but I'm I'm leaning
Which
towards
one
a turbo car.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm
You
leaning
know,
towards a
I've
turbo.
always been a turbo guy.
Yeah.
I've always been a horsepower guy. You know, and I don't know why.
I just love the way it delivers it so effortlessly.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
I love the feeling of turbo lag. I mean, it sounds bad because most people don't want lag, but I like the feeling of I like hearing it build. It's very visceral.
Yeah.
You hear it, you feel it. Next thing you know, you're planted and you're like, oh, this is cool. And GT cars are great, man. I have an 18 GT3 that I've had trouble selling actually. But
The Birch.
Yeah, the Birch green car.
I can't believe you have a hard time selling that car because such a fantastic color.
GT market's just, I think it's just oversaturated right
I
now.
agree.
But a fantastic color, incredible car.
Yeah.
I just don't get the same feeling, even at 9,000 RPMs that I do in a
turbo car.
997. Yeah, turbo cars are where it's at.
Yeah, and also I think all of us that we're aging, and we're probably going to be a little soft when we say this, the turbo car has the comfort compared to the GT car. Absolutely. So I think that's a big factor for me because my 964, I went so far right with it and made it so raw.
Yeah.
I don't want another raw car. Like I don't need two cars that are going to kick my ass all the time. Like sometimes I just want to get in something like you said. It's got a ton of power, makes cool turbo noises, and it's comfortable.
Hit the ventilated seats.
Good to go. Yeah.
No, I agree.
And they look awesome.
I agree. Yeah, I did. God, probably like 700 or 800 miles in that turbo I built for Rennsport when I did the rally with Magnus Walker from LA to Monterey, and then, at the time ran it all through down PCH and all that, and it was even with the buckets that was a comfortable car.
Yeah.
But you don't really want to get into a GT car and like go across the country.
No.
Or like I don't even want to drive it to like barely
The
Daytona,
thought
right?
of that.
I mean, it's like
the thought of that is just
jarring.
backbreaking.
Yeah.
You're just like, my back is going to pay the price.
Literally,
for this.
everything's gonna be painful. Yeah.
But I was in a GT3 the other day that someone had put some seat risers in and it helped on the buckets,
Did it?
which is cool. It's another subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sat in one. I'm like, wow, this
I
feels
rode
like.
one in an 18 Foster's. He has comfort seats in his car.
Oh, yeah.
He
makes a big
optioned his
difference.
from the factory with comfort. I was like, I think you are the smartest man I've ever met.
A lot of people sleep on that.
Yeah.
And I was a big proponent against that forever. I mean, I have a buddy that I just helped him get a 911R, but he sold a 16 RS with comfort seats in it. And looking back at it now, I always told him, I'm like, oh, you'll never sell it because it's comforts, but it doesn't have buckets. But looking back at it now, I mean, that car was actually kind of usable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of genius if you think about it.
It's kind of nice. Yeah. Jay and I talk about that a lot.
It's kind of genius, especially, we all have been in so many cars and have driven so many cars where you start to figure it out and you start to dial it in. And I was even saying with his GT3, it was manual, but it had the comfort seats on. And I was like, I could actually drive this car for somewhat of a distance. I'm like, now you have a GT car, but it's comfortable to drive in because you're not trying to be the GT look. You're you don't care about trying to be badass. You don't care about trying to be like, oh, I got the carbon buckets. And it's like, okay, they hurt.
And honestly, like the factory Porsche sports seat, like not the bucket, just like the 18 or the 40, they're amazing seats.
Oh yeah.
It's like
exactly.
It's like that's better than any other brand's.
It's still a Recaro at the end of the day.
It's still a race seat,
exactly.
Almost, So
it still has support. Like it's still good. It's still comfortable.
Yeah. If I ever ordered or if I ever owned a GT3 touring, I think I would want it with comforts.
Exactly.
That's the car.
That's
it's
the
a touring car.
It
right?
is.
I mean,
exactly.
And the winged cars, sure. I mean, if you want to put buckets in, it's kind of cool. Make it like a track car. But the tourings, I had a touring with buckets, and that was my one. Besides the fact that I had cloth inserts, which was pretty cool. That was the one thing I think it needed was like comfort seats.
Nice.
Because at the end of the day, it is a GT3, but it kind of feels more like something you could just hop in and drive. I don't know why. Maybe just because there's no wing on it. But ultimately, Tommy.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think if I did a touring, it would have the
I think that's the way to go, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I was the same thing as you. Like a few years ago, I was like, why would you ever spec a car
track
like
life,
this?
race life?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like I used to be so like spoiled about bucket seats. If I'd see a car, I don't have buckets I want to look at.
Like a snob. I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but now
I don't even want to have anything to do with that.
If I saw a GT3 without buckets, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Exactly.
For sale,
Yeah. I would work the opposite way. I would try to knock them down on it, even though that I wanted it. I'd be like, yeah, I don't really want to buy the car. It's got those comfort seats in it, but like secretly you want them.
Yeah. And it's funny, actually, the Birch, going back to the Birch car, which I've had for a few months, has been very hard to sell for me, which is interesting. It's a beautiful car, but the one buyer that I did have on it, the one drawback were the seats.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I can't have the buckets. And I'm like, oh. So I tried hard to find a set. I talked to Porsche. It was going to be a big. I think it's easy, from what I understand, to go the other way.
Yeah.
It's easy to go from the sports seats to the buckets, but to go from the buckets to the sports seats is much harder.
Yeah.
So
it's probably because a lot of people don't do that.
Wiring,
electronics,
and all sorts of-
wiring.
Yeah, people just don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see it sometimes the other way.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that
Exactly.
wants the buckets, and I think that's just a more it's
Or
a
just
simple,
cap everything
simple
off,
seat.
put the rails in
Drop
there.
it in.
Exactly.
Race
good,
car.
Good to
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you heard it from Harris, 997 turbo.
Yeah.
I'm
Loves
997 turbo.
So he's
man.
an advocate for me to buy that car then.
I'm an advocate. I mean, if you can get one of the, what was it, 200, I think 227 09s. 200, was it 227
Super low
09s?
number, yeah.
Yeah, mine was actually an 09, which
Was
was
it
cool.
really?
Yeah, it was a 09 cream white.
Nice.
Which was awesome.
I know, which
mean,
is impossible to find.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I was just going to ask you that too. Did you guys do a repaint on that car? But
No, so I looked for like 6 months for a white car because I always wanted to do a Brumos themed car.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it with this car at Porsche in Ableton up in Chicago, cream white, beige interior. Really, honestly, I mean, ugly. I mean, an ugly car stock.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like looks like a 90-year-old man ordered it.
Exactly.
And it kept sitting there, and I finally called him.
But you had the vision. You're like, I know what I'm going to do with this thing.
I
when
started
get
to think about it, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like the color. So I was originally just going to do just no Brumos tribute, I'm just going to build a car. But the whole purpose was to build it in honor of my dad. So once it got here, I was messing. You know, we've got a vinyl shop we work with very close, and I was messing with some of those guys, and I said, hey, take this GT. It was actually I think the 2011 car. I said, can you put these next to each other in Photoshop and tone down the race car to match the cream white?
Yeah.
So that's what he did. And then I said, okay, now take the stripe colors and can we print those for this car? So actually, if you could put that car I built on a scale and make it white, it would actually mimic perfectly like to the
Wow.
RL colors
That's
of the Brumos
crazy.
car. So, my theory and, the story I came up with it afterwards, which worked really well and it made sense, was, kind of the fading of Brumos with my dad dying and the fading of the colors. And,
So
the
it's a
car.
tribute to that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it really was. And the car was just gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something
That's
that
one
I
of
was,
the ones you regret, like, letting go. Huh?
Yeah, I really do. And I was just so excited and so proud of it. And I remember the first time Dan saw it, we were at Rentsport. And, I had just parked, it was parked out in the normal thing. And Dan saw me. He said, well, bring it over here. I said, you want me to bring it to the Brumos tent? I said, bring it over. And sure enough, I drove it into the pits there. And, Dan walked around and looked at it. And I was nervous because, I'm like, I hope he likes it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
It's
what
like,
you're
all right, I'm under the microscope now.
Yeah, and he's looking, and I could tell that he saw the attention to detail. And he's like, why don't you park it? And I parked it next to the GT3, and it stayed there all weekend, which was awesome for me. I mean,
that's
it was a
really
highlight
cool.
for that.
Yeah.
But, those things are always fun to build.
Yeah.
They look a lot easier than they were. That car took 8 months or more to do total.
I believe it.
But
Because I remember when it first came out, I was like, how did he do this with the flary and like,
Yeah, and
like that was and when I looked at it, was always the most eye appealing thing, the flares and stuff. And it's like, how did he do this?
Well, I'd gone to SEMA the year before, and the guys from Liberty Walk, which at the time it was a big over fenders were like a big thing.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the guy, and he's like, "How we're doing Japanese, barely talked to him.
Yeah.
997. I said, "Okay." I said, "I want the first kit." He said, "Okay." And I talked to them forever, and eventually they got me the kit. I had to go through customs. It was a pain in the ass. But I get the kit, get it to my body guy. We start fitting everything.
Not to mention how expensive they are.
Yeah, it was stupid. And I'm not going to go how bad it was, but either way, we put it on and nothing fit.
Yeah,
I mean,
not surprising.
Nothing
Not surprising.
fit. If you actually look at some of those cars, you'll see the rear wheel is off centered on all of them except for mine. I mean, we had to reshape the rear flares. I mean, it was a big job because I wasn't.
So that was an LB kit then, and you put on your car. Okay,
yeah,
so that makes sense. Okay,
yeah, and we glassed it to the body.
Okay,
I didn't want to run the. I didn't want to run the
the
rubbers. Yeah, so it wasn't molded, but it was glassed to the body, and actually the whole rear fenders were reshaped.
Okay.
So it was a big thing to me to center the wheel in the fender well, because most of them to me, they look like they're wrecked. You know, you look at a Liberty Walk from the side and the wheels shoved really far forward in the back, and I'm just kind of like, something looks weird.
Especially on the Lambos too, you could see it real big on the Lamborghini
They just,
ones.
I mean, you know, it wasn't a great product.
Yeah.
we did a lot to make it better, and ultimately that car was really strong. I drove it at Willow Springs. I tracked a little bit with Magnus.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard tracking, but I mean, it didn't rub. It didn't, you know. There was another Liberty Walk car on that same rally, and I mean, that thing was like, I'm surprised it made it there. I mean, the rear tires were rubbing the entire, you know, 400 miles. Like the outside of the tires were just shot. And so it was cool to be around another one, you know, not in competition, but just to see.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe we did this so good because it actually works.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we can get into it because we're flowing, so it doesn't matter. We don't need to stop and like everybody can listen, just in case there are other people that are curious about this too. If you could redo that again, is there a wide body that you could do on a 9? Like, say if I bought one, I'm asking for personal reasons. Like if I bought my car and brought it to you and just custom do it, like just custom glass it and just do it that way.
Custom. Yeah, I mean, you could always start with, you know,
something.
You could start with something. It just depends if you like it. I didn't love the look of the Liberty Walk kit so much.
Yeah.
I tried to tone it down as much as I could. But you know, I've learned recently that with the right fabricator and the right body guy, you can do a lot.
Yeah. And I would actually only want to do something small. I'd almost want to just add a little bit more fender, like not even just like go nuts.
I would
like just to add a little bit more fender to it.
Yeah,
almost kind of like, you know, in a cup car, like if a GT2 cup or something like that, like a
little lip.
Yeah, the little lip kit.
Yeah, that little lip.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff's all Porsche factory parts, so you know it's going to fit good, and it adds some value to me. You know, it's like a real. You know, it's a real Porsche.
Get your little race car.
Might have to
on
just
it,
drop
comfort.
that off after I pick it up at his place and be like, this is the way I want to do it. Let's work on something.
They do
do
the,
something.
what is it? Is it the 997 GT3? Is it the 0.2 RS? They make the front lip kit, that front fender kit. You know, and then maybe you could just fabricate something to match
you could just
rear.
do something. Yeah, you could even like get something like you said.
Those cars look good with it just in the front, you know, because the rear is so wide on a turbo. But
it gives it that extra little.
Yeah, just that little,
little bit of like bottle shape, like look.
Yeah, but definitely, man, like to see turbos really set up nice is awesome.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. They're so tough looking anyways.
Yeah.
And the good thing, I might work with you guys. I was thinking about that too.
Got him sold on this turbo thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was having
struggle.
Here's the thing. A problem I was having though, because I was thinking about doing the car, and I always like to push fitment, meaning like I want fit, and I know you're the same way. So actually, it's great that you're on the show because now I have a resource and I could be like, you know how I want fitment, so I'm gonna just drop it off with you guys and you guys work it out.
Fitment's everything.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's like, you know, most people, you know, you go to maybe a place that does wheels or something, and you're like, wait a minute, you want to put a 13.5 on the rear of that? That's way too much. And you're like, no, it'll fit. We just need to work. Yeah, we just need to get the right tire set up for it. And you know, even if we just stretch a little bit, it'll be perfect because it's going to look killer because it's going to have like a 6-inch lip and it's going to be beast.
Yeah, I did. I remember the 2010. I had a 997 turbo with my personal car. It had the Champion Works kit on it, the diffuser, the front, and at the time it was AVV1 wheels, which I think they're still around. They're owned by Momo now, but back then it was a solo company, and I knew those guys pretty well, and they cut a set of wheels for me, and I'll never forget Jordan there he said, order 345, 25, 20, and I said 345.
Yeah.
He said, trust me. I said, okay. And I mean, this car was low.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I think they were 20 by 12 or 20 by 12. I think they were 20 by 12 and a half. 345 tucked.
That's
and it was
beast.
Perfect. And the only downside was the only tire that came in that size at the time, and probably still now, was a Nitto Invo.
Okay.
And I'm nothing against them.
Yeah,
it's just, it's kind of a street tire.
Exactly.
Kind of,
it just wasn't right for that car.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Miami. I didn't really care. I wasn't tracking it. It was I drove it every day. But, the fact that, you could fit that under there was mind-boggling to me.
Oh, yeah.
Those cars come with a 305 stock.
Exactly.
It's like 40 millimeters. You sure?
Exactly. You're like, that's a lot, man.
Okay, we'll do it. And, man, I'll show you pictures of it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, fitment is everything. And I've got some great friends in the wheel industry now, and I'm a real wheel snob. I love wheels.
Yeah.
More than anything on cars.
I'm the
That's
same
my
way.
Go-to.
Total transform the car.
Yeah. Wheels are everything.
Yeah. Wheels and fitment. Like you could get great wheels and you have bad fitment, garbage, get out of here.
Yeah. I just need to not lower them as much. We already talked about that this morning.
We have that problem. But they look so good though. That's our problem. Like they look so good.
The lowered lifestyle is dangerous.
It is very, very dangerous. And it's dangerous to the car and everything. Like it damages the car, but I mean at the time it's just what you do.
It's got to be, you
just keep replacing the lip spoilers. That's what we do.
Yeah. Luckily, well, I don't know about 964, but most Porsches you can get them pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're not that bad actually. It's ABS plastic and even Porsche tax. I think I ordered 2 of them from Porsche Jacks this morning. I think it was like $310 total for both sides.
And on the 997.1s, you could do the cup lip, which was actually, it would come in a roll.
Exactly.
And I used to buy that for my GT3 because I could put it on and it was so flexible.
Yeah.
Versus like the standard lip, which was still hard plastic. That cup lip was like, I mean, you couldn't even tear it.
They
right?
knew during races. It's
because it was always going to be like digging into stuff. So
I used to drive that GT3 and I would hear that thing everywhere. People would be like, I'd be like, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. And then I learned that actually, believe it or not, I never used this for anything else, but Plasti Dip would actually turn them back to like perfect black.
Really?
So I'd get that thing all dinged up and then Plasti Dip it and it'll be perfect.
Oh,
that was crazy.
That is good.
So
hey, pro tip.
Another
You just
trip.
heard it.
Yeah.
You're welcome, listeners.
if you have a GT3 cup lip and it is scratched up, just go to your local hardware store, Plasti Dip.
Done.
Tape it, pull it off, paint it black, pop it back on. Jay knows that trick. We've done it a few times on his cars. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good to go. Well, we don't want to take too much more of your time. Do you have anything else, Aaron?
No, I was going to ask about some like your favorite racetrack growing up.
My favorite racetrack going up is Daytona, just because I mean I can't
Backyard,
I don't. I mean it's an hour and 20 from here.
I figured it might be an obvious answer, but I just wanted to say.
I mean, I was a little
Probably a crap ton of memories there too for you.
Yeah,
too,
just I mean spectating and racing. As far as a track that I'm most comfortable driving on is probably Roebling Road in Savannah, just because it doesn't tear cars up. It's kind of an easy flowing track. Daytona is a little. For me at least, I was younger when I did it, but it was a little intimidating. And I raced it before they repaved it, so it was really bumpy at the time. Around 3-4, NASCAR 3-4 was like, I mean, you're doing like 150 there, and the thing is just, it's skating. But it's really interesting, that track, because you're on the banking and you're barely, you don't even turn the car. I mean, it does it all for you.
Yeah.
But really like that. I love Laguna Seca. I've never actually driven there, but I think the elevation and stuff like that is awesome.
Track.
But yeah, man, I love all tracks. Fortunate enough to travel to a lot of them when I was younger. But there's definitely a few I want to race. I'd like to race. Not race, but track. I'd like to drive VIR. Never done it. I mean, it just seems amazing.
Super cool track.
Laguna Seca for sure. And Elkhart Lake, which I think would be awesome. But outside of that, I just I like this. I like the Southeast tracks.
Yeah.
I don't leave Florida very much.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we've got so many, Sebring.
Yeah, it's super
Homestead,
convenient. It's
Palm
really
Beach.
convenient. We are spoiled when it comes to that.
For
I
sure.
even like you have a ton of friends in California too, and I always tell them, I was like, you guys have a good car scene out there. Don't get me wrong, but like we have a good track scene out here.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how I think the huge differentiation between West Coast and East Coast is the real enthusiasts out here are really at the track a lot.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they have good driving roads, so they can go out and do spirited drives.
Yeah, go up Angeles Crest or
on
something.
a normal road, as opposed to us, we don't get that opportunity. So it's kind of like
I enjoy going to California. I hate the traffic. I hate the traffic in LA. It's the worst. Like you get on the 405, it's the worst. But like I was fortunate enough to take some of the roads that Magnus drives. Went up there and I was in that turbo, and man, like if I did have that in my backyard, I'd be up there all the time.
Can you blame the guy? Like if he's like, I just pop out and go for a drive. I was like, that's what I would do every day.
It's hard.
Every day.
Yeah.
That's all I would do. I probably would
That'd
get
be the
nothing done
routine.
but drive cars. They're like, what'd you do? I was like, I drove cars today.
If it wasn't for that and income tax, California would be. If it wasn't for traffic and income tax, that'd be a great place.
I know. I agree. I totally agree. I've gone back and forth in my mind so many times of just like sucking it up. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, the taxes would suck, but you know what? I could find a place where maybe I could work super close or work from home. And then I could eliminate the drive part. Like you're trying to already game plan for something like that, and you're just like, it's not even worth it. Whatever.
I don't know. Florida's pretty good.
Yeah, we do have it pretty good.
This is home. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, so I love it. But
I was born in Jacks too. It's funny.
Were you?
I lived here till I was 7. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very
yeah,
cool.
my dad was stationed at NAX Jacks.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's pretty
It's
cool.
a good city. It's a growing city. And, you know, like going back to Florida, like you said, the big sleeper car communities. Jacksonville's actually got a huge sleeper car community.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people know there's a bunch of great collectors that live here. I mean, look what's behind us.
Of course.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just a lot here.
And if you didn't know, you didn't know for a really long time. Like mainly, I feel like the only people that follow Brumos even knew about the previous location at all, you know? So this being opened up to the general populace is a really
cool,
big deal.
man.
It's a treat. Like, and anybody who's going to come to see it, it really is a treat, you know?
Yeah, going back to like what we said in the very beginning, man, I'm so blessed now that I can realize how special it is, right? Like, you know, even, you know, and even if my dad was alive, I'd probably finally realize how special it was. But, you know, with him passing and seeing it, like I said, from a distance, I've really, you know, grown to appreciate.
And I always try to tell people too, I was like, Dan didn't have to do this.
No.
You know, this thing that he built for everyone.
Yeah.
This is for everybody. This isn't.
It absolutely is. And it's a great, I mean, God, it's just an awesome education center. I mean, it's just, and what you get to look at is amazing.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, they've done a hell of a job. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you guys, man. I'm looking forward to this whole good weekend of
exactly
of car stuff.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good.
And we'll have to talk offline about you building a 997 for me. You're
you
ready
got-
for a
you
project,
got
and
one
I'm ready,
vote.
and I'm ready for a project.
You got-
so
you
this
got
sounds
my
like
vote- my vote
this
for
sounds
a
like we
turbo.
might be married up on something here soon.
Yeah. Well, I like GT cars too. I mean,
I
that's
know.
the road you
Yeah,
go.
see?
I know.
You,
GT car.
you can't go. You
I
can't
do like
go
GT
wrong.
cars, but I think just talking to him about it, like, it makes total sense too. Where
Tomorrow the GT car. Watch.
Tomorrow, does it change a lot?
it
kinda.
goes back and forth. He
Yeah.
asked me this afternoon, it'd probably be GT car.
Yeah.
But then you talk to me in the evening, it's
You
turbo
think a
car again.
997 GT3?
That's where I want to be at. Yeah.
Point-
Or probably 0.2.
0.2.
Yeah. And then
It's a good car.
same thing with the turbo, like probably 0.2. Yeah.
Manual
like
or
a 0.2.
BDK?
Manual.
Manual
Yeah.
0.2.
Yeah.
See, to me, like as rare as the GT car is, like if you buy a nice clean 997.2 turbo manual, I think you got a very collectible car.
I think so too.
100%. I
I
mean, they
think
didn't
so
make
too.
a ton of them. That's
No,
awesome. Yeah.
I agree. So that's kind of where I'm shooting for at this point.
That's a good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you find two, let me know.
Yeah. I'm like, hey guys, 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
you
go
don't,
build sister cars. Let's do it.
you don't see them much. You don't see the manuals much.
Oh, they're hard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
A lot of the manuals are 0.1s.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
You can
And then-
find those.
Yeah, and then the only other one, you know, if you see an 09, I mean, that's a good one because the 09 had the 0.2 dash.
Yeah.
But it had the, you know, it had
Exactly.
the first motor there.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
very
All
cool.
right. Well, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of PCAR Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at PCAR Talk or online at pcartalk.com.